What's good, people? Today we're going to discuss Dave Chappelle's latest special, The Closer, and the backlash it's receiving.
But before we do that, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm one of your hosts, TK, a.k.a. Mr. 3005.
I'm Darius, a.k.a. Chris Handsome, and this is Mind the Gap.
Woo!
All right, so I guess we'll jump on into it. So what are your initial thoughts of the special, like before looking into it and like up till now?
Before I looked into it, I thought it was masterful.
Mm-hmm.
Still kind of feel like that. I think it's
Okay.
well put together. I think that it was well. He went through his feelings to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that. I think he went to a place to himself. Okay, this is what I mean, and I want to convey myself as clearly as possible, as clearly as I know how.
Right.
I think he did try to do that. Like again, I still think it's funny. I found pieces in there to be funny. So that's my initial thoughts when I first seen it. I was like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think nothing else. Once I
Right.
seen it, oh, this guy's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know you. Okay. Oh, I didn't even look at it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, cool. And then I just put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. What about you?
What about now?
Well, I still think it's masterful. I still think there was things that he was wrong about. I think now I'm a little more. Like what we was talking about earlier, like how you watch something, then when you watch it again, you kind of pick up bits and pieces of what he was like a person is truly trying to say, and you pick up the things that was like maybe not like you see that Starbucks coffee cup on the Game of Thrones,
yeah.
like you kind of find that. So
Yeah,
it's like I
find those
don't know
little
about that,
hidden- yeah.
Dave. You know, so stuff like that. So when I looked at it again, I still thought, like I say, I still thought it was masterful, but I do think there was pieces in there that he could have done better.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there's some stuff that people on both sides overlooked. The stuff that he was saying, like damn, like he was really talking. It was really deeper than what he was saying.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, hold up. And then the way he set it up from the beginning to the middle to the end, on how he like, I gave you this, so when I do this, you have to examine why you accepted this and not this.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was like pretty good. And then certain things that he said, like, if you listen closely, like he gave you a little. So I thought it was even. I thought the way he put together was even better when I watched it the second time. But even when I watched the second time, I was like, well, hey, this is not right, and this is not right. Yeah.
For me, initially when I was watching it, I thought it was good, but it was like far from my favorites of like which ones he's had done. For me, it was like a slow burn. Like even for me, like listening to some of the things I heard him say early on, I was like, ugh, you know what I'm saying? I don't know about that. But for me, it had to build up, and I think it built. What am I doing?
Build up.
For me, it built up into the end with the story about Daphne and stuff like that. So for me, it was like a slow burn to the end, and the more it went on, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I see what you're going here. But so initially, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was like masterful or something like that. But now going back and like looking at different perspectives and like looking at it again and watching different clips, I'm like, yeah, it's some missteps here that I think could have been better and if you had a look more into it, it could have made your point even stronger.
Yeah. I do agree with that, though.
Yeah.
I think if you would have done a little bit more, the point that he was trying to make it, even though it still would have caused backlash, it'd have been
it would have been solid.
It'd been
couldn't
solid.
say nothing because you know what I'm saying.
Somebody would have said something.
Well, yeah, somebody would have said something, but
because for me, I think he made a strong point or points, but like you say, they could have been even stronger to the point where it's like it's hard to refute certain things that you're saying. If you was more, I would say, like educated in that area,
right?
So. But like I enjoyed it, but I do agree it's not the best. But I think it's good for him saying this is the closer. As a closer, when he came on and said what it was gonna be, I thought it was masterful in that. I don't think it's the funniest. It's not my favorite for as being funny.
And the thing is, I think Dave Chappelle is still funny, but I think he's like you were saying earlier, he's moving into like a different realm of like philosophy and like.
I want you to listen.
Yeah, I want you to listen to what I'm saying. more so. Like maybe like a George Carlin or something, like who's funny, but he also has like a whole political message behind what he's saying.
Yeah.
So I can see him transcending into that space. Like his last special that he just put on Instagram about how the company had rights to the Chappelle show and he was asking people to help him. Like there was funny parts in it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it was a serious tone, but you were still like highly engaged in it.
Same thing. I think it was 804.
Was that when he was talking about George Floyd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 804.
Yeah.
Same thing with that. It had funny pieces in there, but I think he understands that his power is storytelling and getting you to see a certain perspective, bringing you in, or at least not so much the perspective. He's saying is like, this is how I see it from my view, and he makes it very clear. It's like I make it very clear on what I see and how I feel. Now, I may not be right or whatever the case may be, but I'm trying to get you to understand how I see things or bring it in. Like when he was talking about George Floyd and he was talking about, I remember an earthquake and I remember I wanted to scream.
Yeah.
And I couldn't scream because, I guess as a man I couldn't allow myself to scream, but I was scared.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to die. So I can't imagine somebody being on my neck and me screaming out for my mother, let alone my life.
Yeah.
I was like,
powerful.
I was like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, I don't know. I thought this was going to be funny. I didn't know this was going to be. So yeah, I think he has a way of doing stuff like that. That's why I thought it was pretty good on how he pushed jokes to push the message.
Right.
Like before he lull you to sleep, he'll push you, okay, pay attention. Pay attention. And then it brings you up and then he'll drop you.
I agree with that. Yeah. And I think part of the reason I may have been initially dismissive of like other positions is Dave has that effect to where we look at Dave as like an insightful person. And now, like we said, he is moving into that philosophical space. So, and we figured like if Dave is saying something, he's thought about it and he knows all angles of it. So it's not the first thing to question what he said.
Yeah. I think that comes with anybody I think everybody does that with anybody they trust or feel entertained by. You know what I'm saying? Look at the last president.
I also think that's dangerous because like
that's absolute danger.
Yeah, you fall into like a false sense of security, and like just going back and reviewing the stand up again as like brought me more down to earth about like who I like idolize and things like that, and notice that everybody's not flawless; they have flaws. But recognizing those flaws, you can be better like the next time out and make your point even stronger.
I think that's what made it better for me also because it's like, okay, I think those things make a person better for me when I see you mess up.
Yeah.
Like when I see my teacher fart, I'm like, oh, okay, you human.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We can joke.
Okay,
now your class isn't as serious as it was. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I don't see you as this authority figure. You know what I'm saying? To where I have this idea on what an authority figure is. I see you as human. Okay, you messed up. I mess up all the time. I don't look like that's. I think that's what happens with a lot of people. Like when people say people idolize Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Like Kobe was great. He made these amazing shots. Kobe got like the most misses ever. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But
you got to make all those shots. You got to
have
put
to
them
take
up
them.
there.
You feel what I'm saying? So it's like it makes me more impressed with what, especially with anybody. I think that's the problem with people too. People think everybody should be perfect, and that's what keeps people. Like, even in this situation, I can say Dave messed up. One of my favorite comedians, if not my favorite. But I think people get caught up, even people that view him as he is like a great comedian, they don't want to see him do wrong. No, he's not wrong.
I see that a lot in the media now. They're overlooking, like even criticizing his comedy as a comedian. Like, some of his jokes could have been stronger. Like, it's like a total, like, overlook of, like, the entire special and just, like, in this... automatic defense mode of the special.
But it's so, like, we talked about this the other day. It's like so many. But
do you want to just jump into like the special? Just go through the special.
Oh, let's go through the special. Yeah.
So what do you think about the opener when he was using the story like the baby?
It wasn't just for me. It wasn't just that because like again when I watch it again and then I watch it again after we have a discussion. Like the opener of what he said a lot of offensive stuff to every community.
Right.
Every community. And we just like people don't even remember. He said something about Asians.
Yep.
He said something about Jews. He said something about the church.
Yeah.
he said something about black people, and then he said something about even political stuff like Mike Pence. He brought up Mike Pence in the situation, or just gays and stuff like that. He brought up that, so all that, it was funny. And then he broke down, okay, well, I got an agenda today. I got to talk about this. And then he brings up the baby. So that stuff cushioned that. That's what I was talking about earlier. It's like he made fun of this stuff to say, well, I don't think these people are going to give me backlash on this stuff that I'm saying. And those things was wild.
Yeah.
And then he say this about the baby and the what's name. I think the baby is a special case because he killed himself. He killed somebody in self-defense.
Right.
I think that's pretty up. But I get his point with saying that because he's saying like he did this and then either his status went up or, you know what I'm saying, he became more popular.
Yeah.
So I get his point on that. It's like, well, nobody said anything when he did this. And then that's the same concept that we remember him for leaving the Chappelle show.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all okay with me when I'm out here cooning, basically. But when
I thought he left because he didn't want to start cooning.
That's what I'm saying. But so I can make fun of like black people or stuff like that. But then you want me to go further.
Yeah.
Like even when he said in the last speech, he said, why is it okay for me to say the N-word and not the F-word? He said, well, you're not this. Well, I'm not this neither. Yeah. That gives you the concept, not necessarily him, but the concept of how people look at that.
Right.
Because you can say that on TV and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I get what he was saying in that regard. I mean, he could have picked a better example, like the baby done like, punch somebody at the mall. Something. The woman, the guy, the whole thing.
But he caught backlash for all that stuff, so I don't think he could have used it. Like they went after him for all that stuff.
But didn't nobody really cancel him? No. I think that was the thing. Like, didn't nobody cancel him for not doing that? They canceled him for that.
But because the nuance of that is whose fault is that?
That's us. I believe that's the
for not getting up out of here. Because that's why I don't like that example to get through this. I don't like that example of the baby because we know the history of like what happened with the baby in that situation. Mm-hmm. I think if he would have, done something maliciously, not out of self-defense, we wouldn't even had the counseling. He would have been in jail by now. Yeah. So I think that's a weak way to start the show with that point, and kind of diminish their point by reducing his comparison that black bodies are less than gay feelings. Mm-hmm. Because I think when you reduce somebody's position to feelings, because even he said what the baby said was wild. Mm-hmm. And he understands the effects those words have. Mm-hmm. But I understand why he said it like that, because I guess, black people killing black people in self-defense is less than gay people's justified outrage of documented transphobic behavior that leads to gay bodies doesn't hit quite the same and speak towards his message the same way. Mm-hmm. But that would have been a more accurate way of depicting that segment. But I understand why he framed it like that.
Yeah, we're going to get into that, and I kind of agree with what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Like I said, it was other examples he could have used.
Yeah. That was and I expect more of him, of Dave Chappelle to be like.
But I think that was I think that was good because I think it was only good because it was like, the ideal of it alone was I feel you on that. That's the way that a lot of black people feel. Even later on the show, he said, even if you listen to me, it's not that I'm mad. It's not that I hate trans people. I'm jealous. I don't understand how we black people, including myself, I'm like, bro, people listen to them more, but when we say something in regards to certain things, we don't get listened to. Not to say that they don't get shunned, because they get shunned a lot. Yeah. But when they need to do something, when something needs to get moved, they can move something. Right. When that community says something, that it's over with. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Not always with us, and our movement and stuff like that. Well, black people's movement. I think I understood that, and then when he gave you that, and then he gave you this, I understand that the caveat he was going with.
I get that, but
better example, most definitely. Yeah. But I understand.
And it's not just an example; it's the way he put things. Anytime, because social issues mirror each other. Like anytime your point is reduced to feelings, like when they say we just outraged at black bodies, like when Darren Wilson kills what's his name? We just had this conversation. Mike Brown. Thank you for catching it, because I ain't.
I remember, man.
Yeah, and people are like, y'all not thinking, y'all not looking at the facts. Mm-hmm. Look at the issues, and then they reduce our opinion just to outrage. I think that can be damaging to people trying to get their point across when you reduce your points to just feelings. But I understand what he's saying, because that does register with people, and that's a simple way to look at it. Why complicate it? Yeah, black bodies versus gay feelings, and then you do see that they can move mountains when they want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but I do like even in that situation, even with the example that you're giving, you actually giving a body.
Yeah.
You, like Mike Brown is a body. In that situation, he gave the example of somebody saying something versus somebody doing something.
Right.
Action versus what I was saying and the reaction that it got.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. Like even if you look at like Tory Lanez, like when he shot or allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly
shot him. Like his I think his sales went up like 30-something%, 37% if I'm not mistaken.
The tribe, man. Whoever was riding with him was riding with him.
And that's something that I was like, yo, my man really, did that.
Yeah.
And that's something that
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
But I think it was, and then it goes back to like us with the community thing. But I think like we also have to understand, and then Dave also have to understand that we live in a capitalist society. That the money, only thing that matters is the money. So if the trans community can have a great pull on who comes to the shows, then I'll cancel the baby.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna deal with the backlash of having the baby at my event.
Right.
If it's gonna cause people not to come. I mean, that just makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
and if they got the power to pull that card, why wouldn't they pull that card?
Yeah, why wouldn't I can get somebody else. Like, he's popular, but I'll get somebody else.
I can get Megan Stallion.
Yeah, so I understand that, but I also understand, but that goes into the establishment of Netflix too. For me, I understand their position too. I'm not. Why would I take? I understand the what is it, CEO?
Yeah,
and he said like we got like
he already paid him the money.
Yeah, he was like, "What? I already paid you the money," and I think his example was, there's other people that jokes about other people, other races, other groups of people. So why would I just take yours off and then take your feelings into consideration and not their feelings into consideration? And like you say, I already paid them. And the trans community is not a huge community. So if y'all decide to not, say if you log off of Netflix, that's a small community that has Netflix, so it's not going to help.
Speaking monetarily, not like they just don't matter.
By the numbers, by numbers. So it's not.
He's willing to take that calculation.
Yeah, you're not gonna hurt my bottom line.
Right.
But I did find it weird that he commented twice. That's why I was like, that's pretty serious. Because he backtracked yesterday.
Somebody pushed his button. Somebody grabbed his toe.
Yeah, somebody. Yeah, you feel what I'm saying? But I do understand. I do understand Dave's point of like, there's a lot of stuff that can happen in the community, or our community, black community, and be said and done. And the baby, like I said, I agree. It's a bad example because of the self-defense thing. But there's plenty of stuff that happens and nobody get canceled.
Right.
Nobody.
I agree with that point. Yeah. Moving on, I did like that he called out black people for their part in like assaulting Chinese people. Yeah. I do like that. I enjoyed that because that was really messed up. Yeah. And I remember when we saw it first going on, we was like, "What's happening right
Like, why are we like? What did the
us? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on."
That, but even with that, he brought it back with like, he had COVID. And he said he couldn't help but to think that what was going on outside was going on inside. That was the Asian joke. I was like, yo, that's crazy. Or even the fact that he said the COVID joke, he was like, I was out here grabbing donuts, giving people money and stuff. He said, I killed thousands of people to make this show tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was saying, so I was like, yo, like, we are still in the middle of it.
Right.
So it was just like, and that's why I like that setup. Because he set up like, okay, everybody was okay with these jokes. And those jokes was kind of like I know I'm sensitive getting older. Like, the older I get, I'm more sensitive.
Right.
I'm like, yo, that's.
You pick it up. I
already know what the show about to be about.
It's gonna be raw.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not sure. But we'll get into the outrage and all that later. What was the next part of the show?
I don't even remember. Like, a lot of it was the baby piece, and then he brought up the movement, how well the movement does, and how he's jealous of that movement. And then I think
that was later on, but I think before that was what the comments he had on the Me Too movement.
I don't know. I think that was right after the baby. The one I was just talking about, that was right after the baby, and then I believe that was later on.
So what other sections interested you in that?
The one of the sections that because right after that was a section that he said that he had an incident at the place where the dude was taking pictures of him or filming him, and he told him, you messed up for doing that. Yeah. And then he seen his fingernails painted, and then he was like, I done messed up.
Right.
Now I look really crazy because, he said I use that to hit anybody, but then he was saying they called the police on him. Mm-hmm. And I forgot,
was white, wasn't he?
Okay. Well, he said everybody. He said y'all are minority, and you did this. He said no other person that was black. I think he said no gay person that was black would ever call the police on me.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you did,
you know what that means.
That was what I'm saying.
You know
So that goes to what old girl was saying too about how he left out the black community.
Yeah.
But he inputted the black community. Then he said they wouldn't call the police on me on this altercation because we're having an altercation or whatever. And you understand that if you call the police not coming to see what's going on. They come to see, you know, what black person is involved to his perspective. And that's what that joke he brought in, the Clifford, the big red, the big black. That was the other joke he had about black people, about the dude having a voice.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, yo, that's wild too.
That's wild, bro.
I laughed at all that.
Cringy, bro.
I laughed. I was like, yo, that's funny.
The other parts that stood out to me were which I got his point with the Me Too movement, and I like his example of Sojourner too, how she was brought to speak, but she was brought there, but they didn't want her to speak because she was black, and they thought it would hold back the woman's movement, and how compared today when we found out years later the Me Too movement was started by black women, but then like the white women had kind of taken control of that movement and like pushed it to different areas. I thought it was a good commentary. I don't know if calling them the B words and telling them that suck his penis was, you know, the best way to end that, but I get what he's doing. That's the comedic part of it.
Yeah, that's the extra piece to well, I'm not
the
going
little shock factor.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lecture you to death. I'm gonna give you this, and then I'm gonna go back into what I was doing. I get it. I get that. Even but that's what we be talking about. Like I get that on both sides, and it shouldn't be that like that, but it is. Like I was like talking to other women about that, like especially black women, about how like finding out that this movement was really for the start of it was the black woman, but I think the understanding was I can't put myself as a face because nobody's going to listen.
Right.
And it's like that's tough, right? And then Dave Chappelle said it in one of his specials. It was like if it was black people and Mexicans talking about how they feel inside, nobody would have cared. And it's like that kind of like hurt because it's like that kind of is true. It's like nobody cares. Like even that woman's like her pain is not equal to this white woman's pain. Like why is it like that? But if you feel like you need to play the game to that point, I understand, but I hate it.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a longer road to do if you do it that way. But
yeah, and it's not no real success. And it was no guarantee of success in that. And I was like, yo, bro,
that's hard.
When I found that out, I was having a discussion with another woman about that. I was like, yo, are you serious? Like, yeah, she understood the mission. I looked at it, I was like, yo,
and they made strides. Like I can't
be
mad. I can't be mad.
Can't be mad with the results. Yeah.
And the other thing, the part I had is what we discussed earlier is the turf situation. That whole segment.
Yeah, he was wrong for that.
Yeah, where he misrepresented like the trans community's position on the word turf, and he kind of reduced their argument to they got to make up words to win arguments. Kind of lending to that whole narrative that you see a lot in the media where they're just sensitive. And I'm watching like Joe Rogan, and he's saying like their outrage is basically unjustified, and they want to be above criticism, and they're just being emotional. And I think the dismissal of like the argument about turf lends into that, because if you look at to frame it the way he said it, trans people are mad and want to cancel J.K. Rowling because she thinks that women who are born women are women and women who aren't are not women. And they're called TERFs. And I think that's interesting because we identify with that.
Yeah.
We understand that feeling. So we automatically with J.K. Rowling and we with Dave, and when Dave says, I agree with her, I'm Team TERF. Yeah. So you already along that path of alignment with Dave and J.K. Rowling. But if you look into the history of TERF, you know what that really means, and that's for a specific sect of people. That it's trans exclusion radical feminists. Keyword on radical. So these are people with documented transphobic behaviors. So J.K. Rowling has like after she said that initial statement, she has like a history of making transphobic statements and writing articles and essays and misrepresenting their position. But more damningly is who she co-signs. This lady named Magdalene Breyer, who if she had her choice, she would erase these people. Like they wouldn't exist. And she doesn't have any any qualms about you talking down on them or using derogatory terms and stuff like that. She like if J.K. Rowling was not to compare to like Nazi Germany, but if J.K. Rowling was like somebody working in a newsletter who was supporter of the movement, then Magdalene Breyer would be like a commanding officer. Like she'd be up there. You know what I'm saying? So that word turf has a very specific meaning. So in a new context, Dave is basically dismissing their position by saying they gotta make up words to win arguments. Then he's aligning people with who's documented transphobic, and then he says I'm team transphobic, and then right after that, he makes a joke about trans people's genitalia. So I look at that block a little bit differently, and then like towards the end of the special, he's saying like it's not against their community, it's about white people. And then I look at that section, I'm like, what critique is that on white people in that section? Or is he just talking about their viewpoint or their community in that section?
That's why you have to ask Dave. But like for far as me, when I looked into the JK situation, I was like, yo. First of all, it was like I think I just seen the tweets, just like most people. I seen the tweets, and then the tweets was like saying that she was upset about how they were saying people with menstruals or whatever.
Yeah,
like you mean how do you say woman or woman? You know, doing all that. And then I was like, well, I understand that. I understand what you said. Then it was like somebody was like,
you identify with it.
Yeah, I was like, then she was like, well, there's trans men that still have menstruals. I was like, well, that makes sense. So now that makes sense. So it was like a simple of. This is I seen this. I agree with that. Cool. And then new information came. I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. So I understand why you said that. And then like I seen like she wrote like an essay, and then she was saying like different people was understand what she said. And then I think Stephen King said something or agreed with her. But then he was like, I think trans women are women. And then she took it down, and then she was going through like talking about sexual using her sexual abuse
experiences.
To justify why she said the things that she said. For me, it was like, and don't get me wrong, I understand her point, but I get for her the way she was acting and saying the things she said, it was almost like how white people was acting when they seen black people in like Star Wars. You feel what I'm saying? It was like your injustice will be like they're not taking away from your injustice. They're not taking away. If anything,
it seemed like she took it more personal.
Yes, and it was like
she got a.
Yeah, it's like it was like when people say, okay, well, we're gonna add like some type of new gun law, a gun law that say, hey, you can't use silencers or whatever. Yeah. Then everybody go running by bullets. They trying to take our guns. Yeah. Or like when the black people start moving into a neighborhood. They taking over, or when somebody new coming into the office, or a new woman coming into the office, it was like, well, women, they just giving her the job because it's like that's what
like my girl from ESPN, the white woman, when they hired the black girl, they like, I understand diversity, but you ain't gotta take my stuff away to get her.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I like that's what I was like, yo, it's like I understand. I understand. Yeah, what you mean, JK. Yeah. But they not trying to take. They not taking nothing from you. You good?
Relax. You know what I'm saying? Like she was, like she in her corner, like with a stick. Like calm down, bro.
But I thought her. I was like, because I was like, yo, I understand your position. I understand. Using the. I have trans person. I got black friends, stuff like that. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. But like, you have to really stop and have a conversation with yourself. And maybe I don't know because I'm not in those spaces. And, right. That's the biggest thing about this. Like. Me and you are not in those spaces at all. Like we are literally on the outside looking in. In the times just for this segment, when we go down that hole, it's like, bro, I don't even want to.
So much, bro.
I don't even want to. Like I don't even know why y'all. I don't.
I commend y'all because that's a lot to keep
up with. God bless
you.
You know what I mean?
It's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah, and I'm just like, man, just let them be.
And I just want to add this little section back to that section of the turf thing is that. Diving more into the community, like they having these discussions about what it means to be a woman and what it doesn't. Because we talking about people that are just now in the space to really discover who they are and like explore what their identity means. So they are having these discussions. So they're not mad at somebody because they may feel that they're not women or whatever. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like specifically J.K. Rowling is deeper than that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I think
That's all I wanted to add.
I think the concept was, and then even the stuff that I believe Dave was actually getting criticism on, it was just the stuff that he was saying that was like wrong.
Yeah.
Like he said, I do believe there's two genders.
Right.
When there's like, there's more. If you'd have said only two sex, then I was
Right.
like, okay, yeah, you got that, because like sex is more, binary.
Yeah.
And then sex, gender
Right.
is more like a society thing. Like, where do you want to be placed?
Mm-hmm.
It's more like a label than
Right.
anything else. So I believe that, and then like the turf situation, I believe he was wrong in that situation, and then like because you misrepresented it.
Yeah.
But I do get his feeling on. I feel like y'all are just making up words, because if I'm not in that community, just like me, you're not, and I keep hearing, like, even with us, like, we'll hear words, we like, I don't know what that means, and we'll blow it off. I ain't got to deal with that. And
I get it, but even like even in the black movements, we have certain words that we make up to identify people.
Yeah.
So learning the history of turf just gave me pause of like, let me not immediately write it off. And I'm expecting Dave to be more knowledgeable. I expected him, if he gonna make a joke or put this in his comedy, I expect him to look into it. So either he looked into it and he still said what he said, so he purposely misrepresented, or he wasn't aware, which I'm like kind of disappointed because you Dave Chappelle.
Because even the article that I seen on the what's the name, even if you look up turf, it gave you that, and then he gave you the example of what he thought it was or what he interpreted it was on that. And I guess he just didn't go deep enough. I think that was the case. I think he seen the definition, read the definition.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, this is simple enough.
I'm gonna go with it.
This is what this means. And then later now, and I don't even know now, but maybe he's like, okay, this has a bless you. This has maybe have a more of a meaning than I thought it was. Yeah. Because he's like, I looked it up.
I'm good.
Because he said he looked it up, but like, I'm like, because even for me, I still don't know fully what it means.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, all right. I just, that's not for me.
That's y'all. Y'all
Y'all
got
that.
I'm not trying to be on that list though.
Yeah,
so,
whatever.
Moving on, the other part I had an issue with is the Muhammad Ali, like Caitlyn Jenner comparison, or when he was comparing like him being able to change his name versus
at different times.
Yeah, different times,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of historical context behind those different things.
Mm-hmm.
And like, because when Muhammad Ali was trying to change his name, he was one. We saw the video. He's very outspoken against white people during that time. For one, then he was aligning himself with the Nation of Islam, which was another look on it.
Yeah.
And then he was dodging the draft.
Yeah.
And even so, even though he did all that, he still had the black community behind him.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? But if Caitlyn Jenner had tried to transition back then, she would have been ostracized by everybody. But now, if you fast forward in his
as bad as Muhammad Ali trying to change his name,
because that transgender was not a widely accepted thing back then
at all.
Not in either community.
Because I didn't look up enough to know if there was transgender back then.
Yeah.
So I can't even. I couldn't.
No, there was like then. That's I'm going on my journey like towards the end of like the struggles they had to go to and all that. But like if he would have tried to transition back then, he would have been ostracized by every community except maybe the LGBT community, which was very small back then. But fast forward today, if you're not like a part of a white elite or something, and you try to transition, it's very much a problem, and you have to deal with a lot of stuff. But meanwhile, Muhammad Ali could have changed his name to Meta World Peace, and he would have been all right.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
so that him making that comparison kind of weakened his point right there. But I still get the idea.
I get the idea what
you know
you're
what
saying.
I'm saying? But yeah, I get the idea, but I think he could have used a better. Once again, I think he could have done a better job.
Absolutely, I think that wasn't the best example for you to use.
And again, I expect more.
Because those are two different times.
Yeah.
So, and even if you do the times where it's like, well, Ali's now and then him, Caitlyn back then, but I do get his point on how she won woman of
that I agree with. Even looking to like the LGBT community, like that's wild.
Yeah.
Like because
I think she wasn't even a woman like a whole 4 years.
This is 6 months,
and
she got Woman of the Year. And everybody's like, she hasn't really done anything.
I think that's what covered up. Yeah. I think that's what covered up the Ali thing.
Yeah.
Even when I watched it initially, I had forgot about that part. Even when I watched it initially, I was like, those are two different times. That was that was back then, Dave. So even when I watched then, but like that part I had forgot about. I do remember that part where he was like,
Mhm.
"Woman," I was like, "Yeah, I agree with that. I don't
Yeah.
think you should have won when there's plenty of other." Like
Doing real work.
if you ever look up like Forbes, like top 100 influential people, you be like, "There's plenty of other choices you could have had. Plenty of other choices. Like as far as people
That's
making a difference in the world."
Yeah, because the pushback I saw, like even from the LGBT community, is like she hasn't been doing anything or living this
Yeah.
life for long enough. And there's plenty of other if you want and doing that just kind of is like a what they call it, like a false symbol. Like it's just trying to
Yeah.
appease people.
Yeah,
Like you and we see through that.
Like,
Like
okay, we gonna do this,
go
and then
ahead,
y'all can please buy.
Yeah,
You know what
that
I
was
mean?
just a bad move by who gives out those awards? Women of the Year.
Mm-hmm. Sexy Man of the Year,
Yeah.
all this stuff. I don't know.
That's crazy, bro. I'm with him on that one. But the strongest part of his special, I think, was the end with the thing with Daphne.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it differently, like the way he wrapped up the show differently now. But I think his story now, looking at it, is kind of I got a black friendish,
Mm-hmm.
so I can't be
Mhm.
racist. Is kind of that, but I think his interaction with Daphne was genuine, and he did give her an opportunity. So I think it still serves as like a powerful moment in the special for me. But I do look at it different, especially when learning more about the LGBT community, like the insinuation he kind of makes at the end and how it kind of transitions to the end. I'm
About
get
punching
like,
down and stuff
yeah.
like that. I the first time I watched it, I thought it was like, oh, you trying to because you have a trans friend.
Yeah.
But then when I watched it again, and then when I like listened to her family, and she was like, this is really him pouring out, saying, hey,
Yeah. I saw it in his emotion in his face.
yeah,
but I
like
feel
bro,
he
was, and then the crazy, and then that's another thing, bro. The crazy thing about it is he like I want to say he was I don't know he acted before, but I was like I want to say he was trying to hide it. But he was like I'm talking, so I got to get this out.
Yeah.
And even the jokes in between there was funny, but the hardwood flow that joke was funny right there. But like
Yeah, she killed that one.
I was like it wasn't just that I have a trans friend. It was more like I'm more. It wasn't like I got a trans friend, so I can't be transphobic.
Right.
I didn't take it as it was
Yeah.
like I had a trans friend, and this person not necessarily changed my mind, but I'm more comfortable. I'm more understand. I'm more like together. And this is a tribute to her. Even the last piece, what I'm saying, I knew your father. He was a great one. Like that piece,
Yeah,
I was like,
that
yo,
was-
like what,
yeah.
like that was pretty good. Cause like you kind of see it coming. They told Daphne ass. You know what I'm saying? And then it's saying then a couple weeks ago, and then a couple weeks later, I was like, don't say that. And then and even when he said it,
I kind of felt that coming.
Yeah,
I was like, don't.
but
do
yeah,
that.
we all
don't do
kinda,
me like that, Dave.
I was watching my girl. My girl was like, don't say that. And then he said, I was like. And and it wasn't. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? People like, well, he was just saying that us against them. It was like I didn't take it as that because he also he said no, she had some other stuff going on, stuff like that. But I didn't take it as he was like I'm showing you a tribute to my friend, and I'm trying to show you what I learned that I cared for her as not just a friend, like a close
I don't know if he was showing what he learned because the missteps I saw in the special, I'm not sure how much he did learn.
I think that has everything to do with his
because they could have just been talking more
his
so
lack
like
of-
the intangibles about being what she was, like how it feels. and
Now
all
he
that,
could have.
versus more so like this is what it means to be an ally. This is what it or something like that. I don't know, but I don't know their relationship.
I think he was just saying in that special he was getting like I'm about to get all this out, all my feelings out on what I feel, and then I'm just gonna end it here.
Right.
I don't want to talk about it no
Yeah.
more, or whatever the case is. I think that was what he was trying to do. But I think what I was saying is like, as far as him learning, was like he was able to come back out there and still talk about it. I think that's what because I don't know if he was gonna talk about it again, and I don't know what type of jokes he had before that interaction he may have not had with Daphne. It could have been slightly different. So I do get your point on that because that's how I felt the first time. I was like, come on now. But the story was good.
Yeah.
But then I was like, man, that's token. You using a token. You should know better when I first seen it the first time. But the story was good. So I was like, the second time, and then how the family responded, I was like, oh, okay. So you really
this is real.
This wasn't
really,
just a friend. Like this was like a
like
you feel
or
what
just
I'm saying?
somebody you was helping out.
Hey,
like
you want to open up for me, stuff like that. So it was like, okay, this is okay.
Yeah.
I didn't take it as I didn't even take it as something that he was saying. I think it's just an overall thing that this is part of my special. I'm talking about trans people. This is a trans person that I know. She died unfortunately. I'm putting her as part of the special, and it made me view this because he made it. I guess he looked at it kind of different. Like, I feel like I'm being punched down on, and I want y'all to understand that I'm not punching down on y'all. I'm like, I think somebody said he's punching straight. Somebody was saying like he just punching.
She said that. She's like,
she
the only thing he punches is lines.
Punches lines. Yeah, that's what it was. It was like, okay. But
aside from moving on from that, like the closure he had, like looking back on it, when he was talking about the punching down and things like that, just seeing the missteps in this special, I can't say that they're unjustified
and feeling that way.
And and he's been making specials about them for like the last few years. So if he's been making missteps like this
about them, or they are in it, because I think this was about them.
Well, they are featured in it.
Okay,
so if he's making missteps like this and he's really not paying attention to his community like he is, like, are they not justified in thinking the way they do? And also, like, it's kind of gaslighting the way he put it, as if they were the problem. It seemed like he was putting it on them. Like, if you want to have a real conversation and you want to laugh with me, then we'll pick this back up. When if he's been like doing this kind of for years, it's like, well, you haven't been listening to us from the jump.
I think that's what the Daffy situation did. You know what I'm saying? Made him feel like he can open up to talking, because he could have just blew him off again like he did on the other specials. It was like, but you gotta think that he made.
But it didn't open him up enough to listen to the criticism. Yeah,
they said he was supposed to. He said he was open to meeting somebody like yesterday. Now somebody else said that he stood him up, but I think yesterday they said that he was.
I'm talking about before the special. Do you think? Because
I don't know. I think he probably just. I'm talking with her.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking with her.
I think somebody's comments were like, I think that he's kind of been defensive lately, is why he kind of put this special out. And like, since he comes from this place that jokes are jokes and comedy should be sacred, and people should be able to take criticism, and him catching so much backlash may have put him in like a defensive position where he might have not been as open as he could have been to like listen to these different perspectives.
I think that was I agree with that. Yeah. I think because with what he did, the criticism that he received wasn't like, even what we watched, like we understand like, okay, well, this one is a joke, but you misstepped here. If I'm the person saying it and I don't know the misstep, and all I hear is hate, you transphobic, you hate us, and you do like this, I don't even know where I went wrong at. Yeah. All I feel like I felt so there was no like specific critique unless you really look. But if I'm already been getting trashed for the rest of them, and I coming into this knowing I'm about to be trashed, why would I listen?
I'm not gonna look.
Yeah, it's like, why would I listen? Like, we had to actually like that, because like I said,
I had to dig. I didn't even know what channels to go through.
We watched it.
Yeah,
and we was like, okay, like we ain't think nothing else about it. We talked about it. How you feel about it? It was pretty good. Yeah. He stayed on the trans stuff pretty good, but at the end he kind of made me make sense of it. Okay, then cool. It was no emotional attachment to that, and then it was like backlash. Oh, what happened?
What's going on?
Yeah, so it was like, I was like, okay, let's look. And then like some of the missteps, but if you saying that everything that I said was transphobic, then like it makes me not want to listen. Like that's what one thing. I think that's one thing that we have in our community, that when somebody have a misstep, instead of trying to help them or whatever, we just throw this. we just throw the person just up under the bus.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? And then a lot of times, like, and then also on that, I understand people saying that, you know, sometimes they are, that community is sensitive, because all communities are sensitive when it comes down to certain things.
Yeah, especially during whatever time period we in.
Yeah, that go. I when we talked about it, that what you said was like eye opening. It was like, it made you right.
Yeah,
time has to.
Like when I explained to you that, like, because the video I sent you, the girl, she was like, "Would you laugh at a racist making racist jokes?" I
was like, yeah, I have.
Yeah. And I was like, well, those jokes don't hit the same if it's in the middle of the 1700s.
Yeah.
We're not laughing like that. And I think for them, this is the 1700s. Like I said, they just now in the space. Yeah, this is Jump Street. So I think it's because we will all understand if we was in 1700s and we didn't want to hear racist jokes.
Yeah.
I think now they're in that space that, like, it's not time to joke about it, especially more so people on the outside of that community, because we don't understand all those nuances and stuff. So maybe I think they right in saying like it ain't time for that yet. Maybe in 100 years, but today, nah.
I agree with you, but we also talked about how what is wrong, the person saying it or what is being said, and then we talked about how. Because, you know, I'm always about a person by intent. What was the intent of the person, not necessarily the impact. Because the impact is going to matter, but the intent is going to make me feel one way or another.
Yeah.
Like, if something's going to happen that's going to make me mad, I'm going to be mad regardless. How mad I am is based upon the intent on which it happened.
Yeah.
So, like, even with that, it's like, is it, and I feel on 17, I wouldn't say 1700, but, like, I don't think these jokes, like, that, like, racist jokes would be funny in, like, you know, 1940, 1930 or whatever. Unless you in a space where I can say something bad.
Right.
You know, something like that. But I get that, like, okay, maybe it is early. Like the thing we seen earlier, it's like, yeah, that's a little early. Not too soon. People like too soon.
Yeah.
But is it not funny? Would it be if it's funny later? And I always had that problem. If it's gonna be funny later, I don't understand why it's funny now.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? But
it's just the atmosphere of what's going on right now.
Yeah. So I do get that part, and I do get when people say that community is sensitive. Because I'm on the outside. Yeah. And I don't understand. Like, even when I worked, I was like, bro, y'all tripping over what did he say that was? And then it was like, I'm looking, it's like turf. Okay, well, he did that. Okay, he said agenda. That's not right. The Muhammad Ali thing. It's like, nope, that's a little bit of a reach. And stuff like that. It's like, okay, I can see why you upset the misinterpretation that he gave of your community. Yeah. So I do get that. But I don't like the full, like, even in our community or any other community, it's like when you throw like a hate ball at somebody, it's like, what are your intentions?
Well, let me ask you this, because they label him transphobic.
I think by definition, a lot of people transphobic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think, well, yeah.
Because I think the definition is not.
It's not about hate.
Not being educated on. Yeah. I think is that now? If I'm not mistaken.
Well, here's it, and I think this is what people getting caught up because I see this like, especially watching interviews. Like, Dave doesn't hate people. He's not transphobic. Like, we ain't talking about hate. Yeah. Is what you're saying potentially detrimental to the community? Like, you ain't gotta hate me to be racist. Yeah. You just gotta target my communities to gentrify and kick us out. You just gotta boost your constituents up with whatever rhetoric we want to use to go against black people. Though? Yeah.
Is that big? I thought racism was like you feeling like you support you are over another group.
There's a part of it, but there's an action and there's like the feelings behind it. The feelings behind it is more like prejudice.
Yeah,
like
I say
the
that
things you can say are racist, but the action you like gerrymandering, it's racist. That's an action. Like we.
But yeah, but I feel like that's racist because you know what you're doing. I think that's more racist. Like being a prejudice, that can just be subconscious. I know y'all like chicken, so I brought y'all some chicken over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think.
But the
is
thing,
that or that more bigotry? That's
what. See,
yeah.
but basically, like with racism and like all isms and phobias and stuff, like it's about what you're saying going to cause potential harm, especially political, like because that's where all the power is, trying to make political moves. Yeah. So even though you may not be aware, you could be saying some transphobic things, like misrepresenting, or just saying hateful things.
What is the true definition? Because I thought the true definition was like not. What was it? Because it's not fear. It's more of like you're not trying to be educated on it, or like you say, you saying things that are harmful that you don't know what you're talking. You're ignorant to the. Yeah. You're ignorant to the community.
It's some of that too, because you say you may be saying things that are potentially harmful. Yeah. And like in all these definitions, the one word you see is discrimination, which is action. It's like putting into action. Mm-hmm. So even though we may not be aware of the things we're saying, like we could be adding to that atmosphere that causes that hurt. And let me ask you this: if you have a problem with somebody, and you check them once, and then they do it again, maybe not intentionally, but then you keep trying to get a hold of that person, but they keep saying things that are wrong. Yeah. At what point do we just call a spade, even though they may not intentionally be doing it?
Mm-hmm. But for me, this is the only special that I've seen there where he said, "Well, I ain't gonna say that because I can't even remember the thing." That's the only one I remember.
The only other. What do they keep bringing us? The alphabet people. That's the only other.
Yeah, he does. He does say that a lot. Yeah, I think, is that the time? Because I done heard because even with that, I done heard people that's in that community say the same thing. Mm-hmm. So if he was around some people that say the same thing, not saying that, you know, I'm around a white guy and he can say the N-word.
Yeah.
That's saying, but I think that's different. But like if I hear other people say it and these group of people are okay with it.
And maybe he saying stuff he shouldn't be saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know the
because
that,
on the outside it's demeaning, but on the inside we get it.
Yeah, we get it.
You know what I'm
feel what I'm saying?
saying?
You absolutely right. That's what I'm saying. Like even with that, it's like they say it and then they don't mind you saying it and stuff like that. Like
I think he would have checked. Like, he's cool. They be like,
so like in that regards, if somebody would have checked them, then by all means. But like far as the
because it seems like they've been trying to have this conversation, or just like, hey, what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, he been doing these specials, like you know, featuring them in these specials for a while. And like, can you calm down?
But what parts of those specials and those other specials was he wrong about?
Like
That's
what we have to go back.
We have to go back and really look. But
if we missing stuff like now,
yeah, because we never did like really go. Because it's the first time, but we were like, hold up,
yeah.
Because like even the other stuff was just like, you know, he said something. I was like, those were like small parts of the special. Well, not small part. It was just added into the special because there was a lot of stuff in there.
But it wasn't centered around.
This was centered. Yeah. This was like this is my conversation to you on what's going on.
Yeah.
So, but I do feel you on that because if you're in a space where you saying like the alphabet people, because I didn't even know again that was it was something bad to say.
Yeah.
You know. I know a lot of people get caught up. They be like LG, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like
you know
alphabet people, you know what I'm saying?
And I apologize. We offended anybody by saying alphabet people.
Yeah.
I don't want to get it across. But to me, what hit home for me,
sure. Because I didn't even know that was
yeah. When I thought about it, when I initially heard it, I thought about it like alphabet people. Then I saw people using it while they're like dismissing like their position. I'm like, well, what if? You know, because there are people still trying to find their own identity. I was like, what if in the 1940s when we was talking about Black Power and Black Pride, how many white people was just calling us darkies?
I wouldn't compare to that because I would compare like that's funny though.
Yeah.
Like now, I don't think it'd be funny then.
No.
But like
it was funny to somebody.
It was funny to somebody.
Yeah.
Of course, everything that happens is funny to somebody.
Comedians then, white comedians like darky this, darky that.
For sure.
And they can't take a joke. They are dark.
Mm-hmm. I think
they are the alphabet people.
Yeah. I think the NAACP, like with that, I say that. Like, if I get to the part where I'm messing up,
it took me so long.
It took me
to learn what that is. I've been calling it. What's the football?
Yeah.
Was it in
NCAA?
I was like,
because I can get GLAD, which is the organization for gay and lesbian. I can get that. Yeah. But I think that has everything to do with. I think that people looking for something to make fun of people with, and I think that's just like people just forget because it's not that important to them. I think that's a combination of all those things. But I do see it as a weapon that can be used against them. So I don't know.
Yeah. It's a lot. So I just want to end with like.
Hold on, did we get to the backlash?
I think we kind of just inadvertently dived into like some of the problems people were having.
We don't understand the problems, but how do you feel about the backlash?
I think it's justified. Like
absolutely.
What really started my journey down this path is when I was talking about the NBJC, the National Black Justice Coalition, and like I saw that video go up of how they wanted the video taken down of Dave, like I want it out of here, and then people were immediately against them, and so I was like, hold up, let me check into this because the NBJC is an organization dedicated to the rights and progression of the LGBT community, more specifically Black people in that community. So as soon as they jumped out for themselves to be like, what he's saying is damaging, like they were immediately dismissed. And then people were like, well, we never heard of it. And I'm like, well, you probably haven't if you're not in the LGBT community.
And we had that discussion. Yeah. A lot of people I talked to, and even the videos I seen, a lot of people thought they was for the Black community as a whole.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that was the misconception of that. But once I figured out that it wasn't, I was like, okay, of course I'm not gonna know because that's not
I'm not in that, that sphere.
Only one I knew was like I say was like is GLAD, if I'm not mistaken. Right. And I was like, okay, I know that one. But like I didn't know this one. I didn't know that was just, specifically for the Black community. And then with the name, I thought it was just
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it sound like it. Yeah. It sound like it.
I know just for me. I can't speak for nobody else. That was my confusion. I was like, I don't know who these people are. even the people I was talking with or like seeing videos, it was like, where was y'all when, you know, BLM was doing this? Where was y'all when
It's like, we were there.
Yeah.
We were there. We've been here since 2003.
Yo, bro, it was wild.
We were here. We've been making statements. We have articles.
But you should be able to hear people out. But
Yeah.
I think also we all have to understand that people just not. And that's why my biggest thing, even with most communities, especially minority communities, like people not gonna try to hear you out, bro.
They're not.
This is like what we talked about earlier.
I think they should, but they just people.
Of course, in a perfect
like
world.
we talking about the tribal
tribal mindset, and then also we was talking about with the Me Too movement and other things. It's like they don't listen to us, and it's crazy. And then like what you said there, I agree with what you said, because when the black trans community tried to say something, it was immediately dismissed.
To Dave's point,
to not only today's point, and the crazy thing it was to our community did the same thing. It's like you dismissed them without hearing that. Like everybody should be heard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody should have a chance to speak.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody should be having the ability to express, you know, how they feel and stuff like that. And I get it. But even in this right here, like we talked about, like Flames.
Yeah.
Like, who do you listen to? Like,
he's talking about Flame Monroe. He's
Flame Monroe.
Transgender comic.
Yeah. Because I'm more inclined to like listen to her because not only is she trans, but she also a comedian.
Yeah.
But I'm also inclined to listen to somebody that say, hey, when I listen to that, I think about, you know, my trauma or whatever. Or I feel like when you do this, this happens over here. Now I may not agree, or I may agree, but your experience is not
right.
It's still points added. So I don't know. Like that's for me. That's when I was like, you know, I don't know.
Well, for me, I think it's about doing your homework to decide. Because even though Flame is about a part of that community, like she don't speak. She don't speak. Yeah, she don't speak. She could be wrong. Like just we said, we look up the terms. He was wrong.
He was
so
facts.
just because she said it wasn't. Like if I make a statement, like if we get popping and I make a statement, and then Tucker Carlson takes my statement and like reframes it in the way he does, and then people get mad at him saying take down that video. But you, as my brother, is saying, well, Tucker Carlson is right to feel the way he do, and that's his perspective. They're gonna be like, well, that's his brother. Why wouldn't we believe him?
Yeah.
But it's up to that person. It's up to that person to go back and look at my statement and see if that's right.
And that's what we was talking about earlier, because I'm always on the individual. Because like when they were saying, you know, his statements, which I didn't get because I'm a black man. Asian black man doing violence to trans people, and I'm just like, I didn't even know there was a backlash. I immediately, But it's like, of course, I can't speak for all black men,
right?
And then like also when other people do, I feel the same way. Like, how can you speak for all black men? And also the same thing. Like, but it's like for me, it's always the individual. I understand groups. I get groups, and I get groups have.
I mean, that's where it starts. Like people have to do their homework.
Yeah, man, like, as an individual, but people don't. Like just like what we said when we watched it, bro. We just took it by word, and then until we was like, bro. Hey, Matt, well, I don't understand. Okay, cool. Let me go back.
I jumped off my point. The reason why I brought up that is because that's what brought me into wanting to know more. Because I saw black people dismissing other black people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if we're gonna listen to anybody, at least let's listen to our brothers and sisters. And then I go in and I learn more about James Baldwin, Marsha P. Johnson. I see the old ads of like the white man, the gay white man, and like scanning class in the club gyrate, and they transpose that over like an MLK speech, basically saying that's a white movement. The LGBT community is like a white movement. This isn't a part of it. And then you find more about that strained relationship between black people and the LGBT community, and like how deep it runs, and like how they are really minorities within minorities. And they're saying, hey, like everything in the U.S., this is going to impact black and brown people the most.
That's a fact. Like, no matter what it is, whether it's COVID or voting, anything, this right here, this is it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're speaking out for themselves, and they're immediately dismissed like, hey, no, you want to be black when it's convenient, or your movement is run by white people. And they say, no, there's levels to this movement over here, and we're speaking out for ourselves. And it's like, we can't retreat to those same safe spaces though white people can.
That's
and
a
now
fact.
we're trying to tell you we're not as far as long as you think we have.
Yeah.
And this is an example of how we being treated right now. So can we get an audience?
Can you back us up?
Yeah.
We damn sure gonna back you up.
Yeah.
I seen a crazy quote. It was like, you know what I'm saying, a gay man would stand up and fight for your lady before another black man. And I was like, yo,
that's a fact though.
In school, I would see like some wild, like, yo, he done jumped over the table.
Yeah.
bold.
First one swing.
It's not to say they do or don't, but they are for our community too. It's not like they're against our community. We are more against them than I feel like they are against us.
Yeah.
For whatever the reason is. And I was just like, yo, brother, you can't be dismissive towards people's feelings.
Yeah.
Like I understand, like, I understand separation. You believe this, they believe that. I'm not okay with you doing this. I'm not okay. But for you to be harmful, my policy is always, I don't care if you're on my side or not. Do what you do. Can you just stay out my way? When I'm going for something, can you not hold me up? I don't care you not with me. I don't really. I can get it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get in my way, then that's where I think I think people have a problem. And a lot of times in our community, we get in their way. Yeah. And I don't like that. It's like, it's okay if you don't want to say nothing, don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't gonna say that. Well, if you have a feeling towards them on there, they still have a right to feel that way. Mm-hmm. Why are you going against them? Yeah. But I will say also, I don't think, because I don't like cancel culture. Mm-hmm. I understand the protest. You feel like something was wrong, tell people that it's wrong. But I don't agree with the cancel.
What is cancel culture?
I don't agree with like you canceling something because like you disagree with it. Like I think Candace Owens is not the person that should be speaking for black people at all. I don't like Stephen Crowder. I don't like those people, and they do misrepresent people. But I don't think they should be canceled.
I'm confused about what cancel culture is and like what I think it is. Like I think some people need to be up out of here.
I think cancel culture is just for me.
Like
it's
R. Kelly. Get up out of here. Some people I think should go.
Even with that, bro, and I think this is trash. Like I can't even listen to R. Kelly no more, bro. I'd be like, yo,
I ain't heard of it. Hey, boy, I used to be the main one. I wish.
That's the song I was thinking about. I can't even listen to that no more.
Tell me record. What's going on?
I don't know who this is. Wendy's. Oh, Wendy's. Bro.
Wendy's? The burger spot?
I guess, bro. That's what it said. Wendy's. It was like a 1303 number.
Yeah.
I thought I had that shit. I guess because it's connected to my
anywhere
wife.
Now.
That's a fact. But anyway, what was I saying?
I don't know.
Oh, it was the R. Kelly thing. Yeah. You see people outside for R. Kelly, and you'd be like, "What are y'all doing?
Still going hard.
What are you doing?" I agree with some stuff like that, like the monster and stuff. Like I'm like, "Yo, bro, what are we?"
I think people should be canceled once it's proven they should be canceled. Like, but I don't think somebody should immediately be canceled if they just say something wrong one time or like they just giving a perspective. Like, educate before you cancel, and then after that,
I don't care about the like just being the. I don't. For me, I'm not a fan of people just canceling people. I'm just not.
But what's just canceling people?
Like saying people that this person should like not be able to. You should take this down from this person. You should take this person. This person shouldn't be able to perform. Now, I understand that type of stuff, like because it's hurting the bottom line. That's just whatever. But I don't think like for me, I don't like.
I don't know.
I just
if they would have kept Hitler from doing some of them speeches.
I think if people were more educated, they'd have been fine. I think that has everything to do.
So you think the education needs to be with the
it's
people
not just
and
education.
Not the speakers?
I don't think
it's balance it out.
I don't think it's just education. I think each individual should be charged. I mean, yeah, you blame Hitler because he got people following, and then once he become a general, and then now you got people following orders. Yes, but as an individual, I'm always an individual person because it's like that's how I think. I get that I'm a group, and that's I'm on a team, then I think as the team. But I have to know that this community. I don't think for all black people, and I don't want a black person to speak for me, even though I may or may not have a lot of similarities. Because there's nobody that I'm 100. Me and you are close, and it's not nothing that we 100% agree on. We don't 100% agree on all our beliefs. So why would I allow anybody outside of me to represent me? I think all stuff should be on me. Now Hitler. Once you become general and stuff like that, you got people following you and stuff like that, then yeah, that's different.
But it's too late.
It is too late.
It's too late then.
But I think that with that, you should have had somebody to go against it, not really necessarily cancel. You should have somebody to go against them. You should have had somebody to push that forward.
I think they did, but I think
they did. They voted. But even with that, like
they got him up out of here.
If I'm not mistaken, he was vote. They had to vote him in. He didn't even win the votes. I think he was running for some type of seat, and he didn't even win it.
Then what happened?
He got power. Yeah.
He's like, okay,
yeah. But like, if
not to go down.
But even with like to look at not to go down that tunnel. But I think that I just don't agree with canceling. You know what I'm saying? I think somebody should have shot Hitler off bat. You know what I'm saying?
That's the ultimate cancel.
That's the ultimate cancel, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? No, but a lot of people like, he's just talking crazy. He's loud, just like Trump. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with him.
Until people show up at the Capitol.
Till people show up at the Capitol. But I think that has everything to do with there's a certain type of people in this world that, I mean, I do agree that they just need a leader to do that. And once it's there, it's already there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you cancel somebody that was president? How do you cancel somebody that got millions of dollars? I mean, not millions, I'm talking billions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that stuff is a little different because now you just like, you becoming a cult.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can really cancel stuff like that. But
ideologies are hard to battle.
Yeah.
People you can battle.
Yeah, people you can battle.
Ideologies are hard to kill.
So I don't know. So I get what you're saying. I just don't agree with canceling. But but with that right there, I think you might be right on that. Like, far as like somebody that powerful. But then even with that, like,
that's hard to see who has it, because some people start off like that and they don't have the juice like that.
Yeah.
So
you just ignore, like, what just like Alex Jones, like, you just, you know, whatever. You don't think he has a crazy following where they're gonna end up at the Capitol. Yeah. So at what point do you cancel? And what point do you like? I think even with Hitler's thing, like, what point did they knew like we messed up? Like, at what point?
I think when he started invading people.
Yeah.
Oh, when he
started. I'm talking about in the country.
Yeah.
In the country when he was like, well, we getting Jews now. Like, at what point did people was like, well, how did we get here? Because I fear that's kind of like what the situation we in now. Like,
like now it's too late.
Yeah.
It may have already passed. We don't even know it. That's what's scary, bro.
So I don't know. Yeah. But even with that, I think they have every right to feel the way they feel. I think they right in the way they feel. But I just don't agree with canceling. You know what I mean?
I think I got everything else I want to talk about. Anything else you want to add? Like, any final words? I got some final words. But.
Oh, final words, man. Listen, just for me, if you're not helping, just stay out people's way. If my biggest thing is, like, you don't have to be on my side, but I need you to stay out my way. And that's the same thing for any group of people, unless they bring harm to you. So you can be dismissive towards somebody, but don't add into their hindrance.
I agree with what you said. I'm gonna add on to it. I'm a little disappointed in people. I know I shouldn't be by now. Like, all social movements seem to mirror each other. I think we should know the beats by now. But like you said before, your man said the only thing we learn from history is that we don't learn from history.
We don't learn history at all.
And I think it's easy it should be easy just to stop yourself and be like, hey, somebody else outside of me has a problem.
It's hurting.
Yeah, it's hurting. Since I'm not in that community, I probably don't know what I'm talking about. So let me just take a second and listen to them before I start talking out my ass. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's all I had to add about that.
Yeah.
We should know better by now.
Be more educated and understand that there are gaps, and you have to mind those things.
Correct. So, all right.
I'll be careful out there.
Buy some Sheba. Mind the gap.
Oh, shit. I know that shit was long.
Oh, yeah, man.